The lawyer's hands were shaking when she pulled the manila folder from her briefcase. She spread the photographs across the conference table, and I saw my own signature on documents I had never signed. 17 of them. Each one a nail in the coffin of everything my husband and I had spent 40 years building. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. From when I still believed that the people you love would never destroy you. My name is Margaret Ellen Hoffman, though everyone calls me Maggie. I'm 64 years old, and until 18 months ago, I thought I understood how the world worked. I spent 31 years as a registered nurse at Presbyterian Hospital in Minneapolis, watching people come into this world and leave it, holding hands through the worst moments of strangers' lives. My late husband, Robert, ran a small plumbing supply company that his father started in 1962. We raised one daughter in a Cape Cod house on Maple Street that we bought in 1987 for $68,000. We weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable. We had each other. Robert died 3 years ago from a stroke. One morning he was making pancakes, singing along to Johnny Cash on the radio. By noon, he was gone. The doctors said he probably didn't feel anything. I hope that's true. His last words to me were, "Don't forget to pick up the dry cleaning." Such an ordinary thing to say. I think about it every day. After Robert passed, I kept busy. That's what you do. I worked my final 2 years at the hospital, organized the church rummage sale, volunteered at the food bank. I had the house, paid off since 2015. I had Robert's life insurance, $425,000. I had our savings, another $290,000. I had his pension, not a fortune, but enough to live comfortably, maybe travel a little, spoil my grandchildren. My daughter Jennifer had always been the light of my life. Smart, ambitious, beautiful. She married a man named Derek Whitfield when she was 26. Derek was a financial advisor, charming and confident. He drove a nice car, wore expensive suits, and always knew exactly what to say. I never quite warmed to him, but Jennifer loved him, and that was enough. They had 2 children, my grandbabies, Lily, now 9, and Owen, 7. I lived for those kids. Every Sunday dinner, every school play, every soccer game. When Robert was alive, he used to say that watching me with those grandchildren was like watching the sun come out. About a year after I retired, Jennifer came to me with an idea. "Mom, Derek and I have been talking." She sat at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd fed her oatmeal when she was 3. "This house is getting to be too much for you. 3 bedrooms, that big yard, and Minneapolis winters aren't getting any easier." I bristled a little. "I've managed just fine for 36 years. "I know, Mom, but what if you could be more than fine? Derek has this amazing investment opportunity, a senior living development in Arizona. It's going to be huge." And he thought, "What if you sold this house, put your money into the project, and moved closer to us? We just bought that new place in Scottsdale. You could see the kids every day." I hesitated. Robert and I had never been investment people. Savings accounts, CDs, maybe a mutual fund. Safe things. "I don't know, honey. That's everything your father left me." "Exactly." Derek leaned forward, flashing that smile. "And Bob would want it working for you, not just sitting in some bank earning 1% interest. This development is projected to return 15% annually. In 5 years, you could double your money. And in the meantime, you'd have a beautiful condo in a community designed specifically for active seniors. Pool, fitness center, activities every day. You'd love it, Maggie." Something about the way he called Robert Bob bothered me. Robert hated being called Bob, but I pushed the feeling aside. "Let me think about it," I said. Over the next month, Derek sent me glossy brochures, projected earnings statements, testimonials from other investors. He brought over a man named Vincent Russo, who he said was his partner on the development. Vincent had silver hair and an expensive watch and spoke about wealth preservation and legacy building. He made it sound so reasonable. My sister Carol, who lives in Milwaukee, was skeptical when I told her. "Maggie, I don't trust that son-in-law of yours. Never have. There's something slick about him." "Carol, he's a licensed financial advisor. He manages money for dozens of clients. Just promise me you'll have a lawyer look at everything before you sign anything." But I didn't get a lawyer. Jennifer was my daughter. Derek was her husband, the father of my grandchildren. Why would they hurt me? In April of last year, I signed the papers Derek put in front of me. I sold the house on Maple Street, the house where Robert and I had made love for the first time as husband and wife, where Jennifer took her first steps, where we'd hosted 36 Thanksgivings. I got $485,000 for it. I transferred that money, plus $315,000 from my savings and Robert's life insurance, to an LLC called Sunrise Vista Partners, $800,000, everything I had. Derek and Vincent were listed as managing partners. I was listed as a limited partner with a 15% equity stake. Derek explained that this protected me legally, standard business structure, he said. Instead of moving to Arizona, I moved into a small rental apartment in a town called Burnsville, about 20 minutes from my old house. Just temporary, Jennifer assured me, until the Arizona condos are ready. A few months, tops. The apartment was dark and small, with thin walls and a parking lot view. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself this was all going to work out. The first few months were fine. Derek sent me quarterly statements showing my investment growing. He sent photographs of construction sites, architectural renderings of beautiful buildings with palm trees and swimming pools. I FaceTimed with the grandchildren. I told myself I was happy. Then the communication started slowing down. In September, I asked Derek about the timeline for the Arizona move. He was vague, some permitting delays. Nothing to worry about. In October, I asked for an updated statement. He said their accountant was behind. In November, I drove to Derek's office in downtown Minneapolis. The address he'd given me was a co-working space. The receptionist said Derek Whitfield rented a desk there twice a month. That's when the fear started. I called Jennifer. "Honey, I'm worried about the investment. I can't get straight answers from Derek about anything." There was a long pause. "Mom, Derek told me you've been acting strange lately. He says you've been calling him constantly, asking the same questions over and over. Are you feeling okay?" "What?" "Jennifer, no. I've called him maybe 3 times this month. He says you're confused, Mom. He thinks maybe you're having memory issues. We've been talking, and we think maybe you should see a doctor." The room started to tilt. "I'm not confused. I'm trying to find out what happened to my money." "Your money is fine." Derek showed me the statements. "I think you're just anxious, Mom. It happens when people get older. It's nothing to be ashamed of." I couldn't breathe. "Jennifer, listen to me. I gave Derek $800,000, my entire life savings, and now I can't reach him. His office doesn't exist, and you're telling me I'm the one with the problem?" "Mom, please don't get upset. I'm trying to help you. Maybe you should come stay with us for a while. We can find you a good doctor, get you evaluated." "Evaluated? You mean like a mental competency test?" "It's not like that. It's just to make sure you're okay." Derek thinks. "I don't care what Derek thinks," I was shouting now. "He's stolen from me, Jennifer. Your husband has stolen everything your father and I worked our entire lives for." "I think you need help, Mom. Real help. We love you. But we can't have you around the kids when you're like this. Not until you get better." She hung up. I sat in my dark apartment and tried to understand what was happening. My daughter thought I was losing my mind. My son-in-law had convinced her that I was confused, senile, paranoid, and somewhere, $800,000 of my money had vanished. The next morning, I went to my bank. The account that had held what remained of my savings, about $75,000, showed a balance of $2,847. According to the records, I had authorized electronic transfers totaling $72,000 over the past 4 months. "I didn't authorize these," I told the bank manager, my voice cracking. "I never made any transfers." She showed me the authorization records. Each one had my electronic signature, executed from an IP address I didn't recognize. "Ma'am, do you share your login credentials with anyone?" I thought about the day Derek had helped me set up online banking, how he'd typed in the password for me while I made coffee, how he'd written it down just in case you forget. I went to the police. The officer was young enough to be my grandson. He took notes, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. "Mrs. Hoffman, you gave your son-in-law access to your accounts. You signed documents making him a partner in an LLC. Legally, this is complicated. It sounds like a civil matter. You'll need to hire an attorney." I was defrauded. He forged my signature. He stole my identity. Then your attorney can subpoena records and prove that. But I can't arrest someone over a family financial dispute. I called 7 lawyers. The first 3 wanted retainers I couldn't afford. $30,000, $50,000. Elder fraud cases are complex, they explained. Expensive to litigate. The 4th lawyer actually laughed when I told him how much money I had left. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you can't afford to sue someone who stole $800,000. That's the bitter irony of these cases. I called Jennifer again, straight to voicemail. I drove to her house in Scottsdale. Yes, I made the 18-hour drive and found a for sale sign in the yard. A neighbor told me they'd moved 2 weeks ago. No forwarding address. I drove back to Minnesota in a daze, stopping at rest areas to cry. My daughter had disappeared. My grandchildren were gone. My money was gone. The life Robert and I had built over 4 decades had evaporated, and now everyone thought I was a crazy old woman who couldn't tell reality from imagination. Christmas came. I spent it alone in my apartment, eating a turkey sandwich and watching old home videos on my laptop. Robert and Jennifer building a snowman when she was 6. Jennifer's high school graduation. Her wedding, where she danced with Robert while I cried happy tears. I watched Derek's face in that wedding video, looking for signs of what he really was. All I saw was a handsome man in a tuxedo, smiling. In January, I got an eviction notice. I'd missed 2 months of rent because I genuinely could not afford both rent and food and medication. I had until February 28th to vacate. I was 64 years old, and I was about to be homeless. On January 22nd, I found myself sitting on the edge of my bathtub with a bottle of Robert's old pain medication in my hand, hydrocodone, prescribed during his last months of back problems. 47 pills. I had counted them. I thought about Robert, about how disappointed he would be if he could see me now. I thought about Lily and Owen, who probably didn't even know why Grandma wasn't around anymore. I thought about Jennifer, my baby girl, who had helped her husband destroy me. I sat there for 2 hours. Then I put the pills back in the medicine cabinet, washed my face, and went to bed. Not because I wanted to live, but because I was too tired to die that night. I told myself I'd decide tomorrow. The next morning, I started cleaning out my closet. If I was going to be homeless, I needed to know what to keep. That's when I found the shoebox. It was an old Nike box, the kind Robert used to store receipts and tax documents. I'd packed it from our house without really looking inside. Just one of dozens of boxes I'd moved. Inside were old photographs, mostly. Robert and me at the state fair in 1989, Jennifer's kindergarten class picture, a pressed flower from our anniversary trip to Door County, random keepsakes from a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. At the bottom of the box was an envelope. My name was written on it in Robert's careful handwriting. Below my name, underlined twice, "Do not open unless emergency." My hands were shaking as I tore it open. Inside was a key and a folded letter. "Maggie, my love, if you're reading this, something terrible has happened, and I'm not there to protect you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I can't be there. I need to tell you something I should have told you years ago, but I kept thinking there would be time. There's never enough time. You know the safety deposit box at First National where we keep the deed and our wills? There's another one. Box 892, same bank, just my name on the account. I paid the fees through 2028. This key opens it. Before I explain what's inside, I need you to understand why I kept it secret. It wasn't about trust. I trusted you with my life. It was about protection. I wanted you to have something no one knew about, something no one could touch. Call it paranoia, call it old-fashioned thinking. My father taught me to always have an escape hatch. In that box, you'll find gold coins. I've been buying them slowly since 1995. American eagles, mostly. A few Canadian maple leafs. Last time I counted, there were 47 one-ounce coins. I don't know what gold costs now, but it was about $1,200 an ounce when I got sick. It adds up. Stock certificates. When my Uncle Herman died in 2003, he left me 500 shares of Microsoft. I never told you because it felt like found money, like it didn't really belong to us. I just let it sit. Stocks split sometimes, so I don't know exactly what you'll have, but it should be something. A letter from me to you. Read it when you need strength. Maggie, you are the strongest person I have ever known. You worked 12-hour shifts and came home to make dinner for a family that didn't appreciate you enough. You held my mother's hand when she was dying, even though she'd been cruel to you for years. You raised our daughter mostly by yourself while I was building that damn business. And you never complained. Not once. Whatever has happened to you, you can survive it. You've survived everything else. I love you. I have loved you since the moment you walked into that hospital cafeteria in 1981 with your hair in a ponytail and your scrubs covered in someone else's blood and your smile so bright I couldn't look away. Use what I've left you. Fight back. Live. Yours forever, Robert. P.S. If our daughter or her husband had anything to do with whatever brought you to this letter, don't you dare feel guilty for protecting yourself. You protected Jennifer for 25 years. Now it's time to protect yourself. I read that letter 7 times. I cried until I couldn't breathe. Then I got in my car and drove to First National Bank. The safety deposit box was exactly where Robert said it would be. The woman who helped me access it looked confused when I started crying, but she was kind enough to give me privacy. The gold coins were there, wrapped in soft cloth. I counted them twice. 47 American gold eagles, each one an ounce of pure gold. I looked up the current price on my phone. Gold was trading at $2,043 per ounce. That was over $95,000. The stock certificates were in a manila envelope. 500 shares of Microsoft, purchased in 2003, but there had been stock splits since then. When I got home and researched it, I discovered I actually owned 2,000 shares. At the current price of about $375 per share, that was $750,000. Robert had left me nearly $850,000 that no one knew about. There was another letter in the box, as he'd promised. This one was shorter. My Maggie, if you found the first letter, you found the money. Good. Now I need you to do something hard. I need you to get angry. You have spent your entire life taking care of other people. Your patients, our daughter, me. You never put yourself first, not once. And I loved that about you. But sometimes being kind and being strong look like different things. You are a fighter, Maggie Hoffman. You just don't know it yet. Whatever happened to you, whoever hurt you, make them answer for it. Not for revenge, for justice, for all the other people they might hurt if no one stops them. And when it's over, forgive them if you can. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I think I read that somewhere. Be happy, my love. Be fierce. Be free. I'll be waiting for you on the other side. Take your time getting there. All my love, Robert. I sat in my car in the bank parking lot and made a decision. I was going to fight. Finding the right lawyer took 3 weeks. Her name was Patricia Washington, a former federal prosecutor who now specialized in elder financial abuse cases. She had gray hair, sharp eyes, and absolutely no tolerance for nonsense. Mrs. Hoffman, she said after reviewing my documents for 2 hours, you have one of the cleanest fraud cases I've ever seen. Forged signatures, identity theft, conversion of assets, potential RICO violations if we can prove your son-in-law and his partner made a habit of this. But I have to be honest with you, this is going to be ugly. Your daughter is complicit, at minimum, possibly criminally liable. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Jennifer's face the last time I saw her, the pity and condescension in her eyes as she told me I needed help. I'm prepared. Patricia charged a 30% contingency fee. If we won, she got paid. If we lost, I owed nothing but court costs. We filed suit in March. The first thing Patricia did was hire a forensic accountant to trace my money. It took 2 months, but we found it, most of it anyway. The LLC had been a shell company. The Arizona development didn't exist. Derek and Vincent had funneled the money through a series of accounts in Nevada and eventually to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. They'd been doing this for years, targeting elderly investors, mostly widows. I was their 8th known victim. We filed criminal complaints. We got subpoenas. We worked with the FBI. who had apparently been investigating Vincent Russo for years, but never had enough evidence to move forward. Derek and Jennifer fought back. Their lawyer, a slick man from a big downtown firm, argued that I had willingly invested my money, that I was now experiencing regret and trying to blame my family. He submitted documents claiming I had shown signs of cognitive decline for years. He even got a statement from a doctor I'd never met claiming he'd evaluated me and found early-stage dementia. Patricia destroyed them. She got me a comprehensive neurological evaluation from one of the top specialists in the country. The results were crystal clear. No dementia, no cognitive impairment, no memory issues. I scored in the 94th percentile for my age group. She deposed Vincent Russo, who crumbled like wet cardboard under questioning. He admitted everything: how Derek had recruited him 5 years ago, how they'd refined their technique on victim after victim, how they specifically targeted widows because they're trusting and they don't have husbands to ask questions. She found 4 other victims willing to testify. All women, all widows, all between 60 and 75. All had been told they were confused when they started asking questions. The civil trial lasted 2 weeks. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. They found Derek Whitfield and Vincent Russo liable for fraud, elder abuse, breach of fiduciary duty, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. They awarded me full restitution of $800,000 plus $1.2 million in punitive damages. Derek went white when the verdict was read. Jennifer wasn't in the courtroom. She hadn't come to any of the proceedings. 2 months later, the FBI arrested Derek and Vincent on federal wire fraud and money laundering charges. Vincent pleaded guilty and got 8 years. Derek went to trial and got 12. Jennifer was named as an unindicted co-conspirator. She wasn't charged only because the prosecution couldn't prove she knew the full extent of Derek's crimes, but her name was in the court documents. Her reputation was destroyed. Her marriage was over. I should have felt triumphant. I should have felt vindicated. Mostly I just felt tired and sad. 3 months after Derek's sentencing, I got a phone call. Jennifer's number. "Mom?" Her voice was small, broken. Not the confident, dismissive voice that had told me I needed help. Something had changed. "Jennifer, can we talk? Please? I know I don't deserve it, but please." We met at a coffee shop near my new apartment. Jennifer looked like she'd aged 10 years. Thin, pale, with dark circles under her eyes. "I didn't know," she said before I could speak. "I swear to God, Mom, I didn't know what he was doing. I believed him. When he told me you were confused, I believed him because it was easier than believing my husband was a monster. You didn't answer my calls for 8 months. I know. You moved without telling me. You kept my grandchildren from me. I know." She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. "I was wrong. I was so wrong. I chose him over you, and I will never forgive myself for that. I don't expect you to forgive me either. I just needed you to know that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mom." I looked at my daughter, my only child. I thought about Robert's letter. Forgive them if you can, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Where are Lily and Owen? With me. We're staying with Derek's mother in Chicago. The kids ask about you every day. Lily cries at night. She thinks you hate her. I could never hate her. I could never hate any of you. Mom, I haven't decided if I forgive you yet. I held up my hand to stop her from interrupting, but I'm willing to try. For the children, for your father's memory, for the woman I was before all of this happened. What do I need to do? Tell me the truth. All of it. Everything you knew, everything you suspected, everything you chose not to see, and then we start over. Slowly. We talked for 4 hours. Jennifer told me everything, how Derek had pressured her to help convince me, how she'd had doubts but pushed them aside, how she'd rationalized his behavior because admitting the truth would mean her whole life was a lie. It wasn't enough. Not yet, but it was a start. That was 8 months ago. Jennifer and the kids live in Minneapolis now, about 15 minutes from my new house, a small craftsman bungalow near Lake Harriet that I bought with some of the settlement money. Lily and Owen spend every Saturday with me. We bake cookies, we go to the zoo, we're rebuilding something that was broken. Jennifer and I have dinner once a week. We're careful with each other, still healing. She goes to therapy now, So do I. Some wounds take time. I used some of the money to establish the Robert Hoffman Memorial Fund at my old hospital, providing financial assistance to elderly patients who can't afford their medications. I volunteer at a legal aid clinic twice a week, helping other seniors who've been victims of fraud. I tell them my story. I tell them they're not crazy, not confused, not alone. Last month, I got a letter from Derek. He's in federal prison in Colorado, serving his 12-year sentence. Mrs. Hoffman, I know you probably won't read this, but I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry. I told myself for years that what I was doing wasn't really hurting anyone, that the people I took from had more than they needed, that I was just redistributing wealth. I was wrong. I was a thief and a liar, and I destroyed lives, including my own family's. I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing because my therapist says I need to take responsibility for what I did. So here it is. I took advantage of your trust. I stole your money. I tried to convince everyone you were mentally incompetent so you couldn't fight back. I am not a good person. I hope you're happy now. I hope Jennifer and the kids are okay. I think about them every day. Derek Whitfield. I read the letter twice. Then I put it in a drawer and went for a walk by the lake. I don't know if I'll ever respond. I don't know if I've forgiven him. Some days I think I have. Some days the anger comes back like a wave, and I want him to suffer the way I suffered, alone and scared and doubting my own mind. But mostly, I try to remember what Robert wrote. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I'm 65 now. I have my health, my home, my grandchildren. I have Jennifer, complicated as that relationship still is. I have memories of Robert that no one can steal. I have the knowledge that I survived the worst betrayal imaginable and came out stronger on the other side. Sometimes I talk to Robert, late at night when I can't sleep. I tell him about my day, about the kids, about the new flowers I planted in the backyard. I tell him thank you for protecting me even after he was gone. I tell him I finally understand what he meant when he said I was the strongest person he'd ever known. I don't know if he can hear me, but it doesn't matter. I hear myself. And for the first time in years, I believe it. Last week, Lily asked me what happened to Grandpa's secret box. I'd told her a simplified version of the story, about how Grandpa left me a surprise that helped me when I was sad. Did the surprise make you happy, Grandma? I thought about it. It made me brave, I said. Sometimes that's more important than being happy. She nodded like she understood. Maybe she did. Kids understand more than we give them credit for. That night, I wrote Robert a letter. I'm going to put it in the safety deposit box, along with some savings bonds I've been buying and a few pieces of jewelry I want Lily to have someday. I'm creating my own secret box, just in case. Just like Robert taught me. Because you never know what the future holds. You never know who might need protecting, and the people we love deserve to know that someone is watching over them, even from beyond the grave. The letter says, My dear Lily and Owen, if you're reading this, something has gone wrong, and I'm not there to help. I'm sorry, but I need you to know some things. First, you are loved. You have always been loved. Whatever has happened, whatever brought you to this letter, that doesn't change. Second, you are stronger than you know. Your great-grandfather Robert taught me that when I was at my lowest point, and now I'm teaching it to you. The Hoffmans don't give up. We fight. We survive. We rebuild. Third, in this box you'll find some things that will help you. Use them wisely. Use them to protect yourselves and each other. Fourth, and this is important, forgive the people who hurt you. Not for them, but for yourselves. Anger is heavy. Put it down when you're ready. I love you both more than words can say. I am proud of you already, and I will keep being proud of you forever. Take care of each other. Take care of your mother. And when things get hard, remember, you come from people who survived. You can survive too. All my love, always and forever, Grandma Maggie. I sealed the envelope and put it in the box next to Robert's letters. Then I closed the lid and walked out into the sunshine. Lily and Owen are coming over this afternoon. We're going to make chocolate chip cookies and watch a movie and probably fall asleep on the couch together, all three of us tangled up like puppies. It's not the life I imagined. It's not the peaceful retirement Robert and I planned, but it's good, it's real, it's mine, and that's enough.